Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. Happy Saturday. Thank you guys for coming out to the Real Assistive Technology for Everyone, our RATE conference. That's what that acronym stands for. So I'm just going to give you a few introductions before we get to our keynote so we all know who each other are, we can see who's in the room. I'm going to start with myself. I see a lot of familiar faces. I see some new faces, but I'm Jeff Sisk. I'm the manager of Assistive Technology Services. I've been involved with the RATE conference since its inception. So we started the RATE conference, and when I say we, I mean a lot of people inside of this room, back in the year 2000. So there's different people in different places and different positions at this time that have been involved with the RATE conference since that time. So this is the first time I've been privileged to do the introductions as the manager. I've been involved with the RATE conference in other capacities, but that's my capacity this year. There's some other, I'm not going to use the word, I'm going to be selective about my word, experienced faces within the room that are also in new roles, and I'm going to have these guys stand up. So Jennifer Carr and Megan Tracy. Megan is probably being Megan and doing some type of technical support. Oh, wait. Oh, there she is. There's Megan. These are specialists with assistive technology services, but like myself, well, they may or may not have been here since the year 2000. I can't necessarily confirm or deny that number. We also have some people that have stood in this position in the room that I'd like to introduce you to. A prior coordinator of assistive technology and a manager of assistive technology services. That's Bill Reeder and Cheryl Temple. So we're glad they came back today, to kind of watch and see how things are going, and of course how assistive technology has evolved and how this conference has evolved over the years. And of course, I'm going to keep these introductions flowing. If you are an ATS, a current ATS staff member, please stand up. All right. Big appreciation to these guys because this RATE conference is a volunteer conference. So these guys are volunteering not only their Saturday, but other times to make this happen. So time in between a very busy fall schedule of getting our students set up and moving and teachers and classrooms set up with all the assistive technologies that they have. So big thank you to you guys, and thank you so much for all the work that you've done, not only today, but in other days, to get this conference and make it successful, to have it be successful. Two other people I'd like to point out, because I'm going to stick with assistive technology services for a while. That's Karen Wiltrout and Diana Reeder. So go ahead and stand up. Poor Diana. The baby also stood up. If you have not seen our social media lounge, please stop by it at some point during the conference. It's amazing. It's an amazing and creative approach to our Twitter feed. Our Twitter feed we're very proud of. We've really facilitated its use over the past year, probably more than ever. So it's a great way for all of these people that stood up before to communicate to everyone else how we're placing and utilizing assistive technologies in classrooms. It's been a very successful mode of communication, so please follow us on Twitter. Our handle is ATS _FCPS, or you can just do a search for Assistive Technology Services. You'll find us in Twitter. And be a part of that communication. So, be a part of that dialogue and participate in social media with us, because you'll see the day-to-day function and representation of assistive technology as these guys implement it, because everybody on Assistive Technology Services contributes to that feed. So you'll see what they're doing on a regular basis, and it's a really successful tool for seeing, what's happening on a regular basis. So if you're if you happen to be, there's another little group of people that made this conference happen that I have to kind of pay a little bit more respect and attention to, and that's the RATE planners. If you're on the RATE planning committee, go ahead and stand up. So that'd be Karen Holly. Poor Diana, you don't have to stand up. We have some RATE planners that are not sitting here, and Diana, I mean, obviously you're doing a lot, because I don't know whether to tell you to sit down or not. I don't know what to tell you to do. But yeah, so these guys have really made the effort and really kind of put some new twists and bends into the conference, and that's what you initially saw when you came into the cafeteria and you saw our AT share hallway. So hopefully you were able to talk to our, not only our staff, but our vendors that are outside. And thank you to all the vendors that showed up as well. And have some, type of dialogue before you were sitting in a session in a larger group. So hopefully that allowed you a little bit of time to have some direct contact. And, our conference planners really made the effort to make that happen. And then, Karen, I'm going to actually have you come down. So I don't have the excuse for Diana to not make you stand up. And I know that, I'm not putting that on you again and again. I have to point out Karen, not only for the rate conference, Karen to me is one of these, logistical people, is kind of more the little engine that could. So she is behind the scenes, and I'm not letting her be behind the scenes today because she really does make the extra effort. When these presentations happen, Karen is the one that puts them in the assigned rooms, not only for the rate conference, but for the special education conference. So she's in a constant planning process, and I'm going to present to her a very unofficial award. This is very unofficial. This was thought up as I was shopping through Amazon like 2 weeks ago. Now, I don't think that Karen needs something like this because she is organized. She has her checklist, but I at least today wanted to present you with this shirt as a conference planner that just says eat, sleep, plan events, and repeat. In case you forget. Thanks, Jeff. Congratulations.
Thank you.
If you're a Fairfax County Public Schools teacher, go ahead and raise your hand. All right. Thank you guys so much for coming out on a Saturday. I mean, it really shows your passion and drive for, and your interest in using assistive technology with students and, making and pushing our students' success. So thank you today. If you're a Fairfax County Public Schools teacher and you're a TOPS teacher, raise your hand. All right, so I'm going to give you, thank you guys. So this is always, to me, like the trick question for anyone, including our own staff, that's involved with the TOPS program. What does TOPS stand for? Look at that. Came from the back. Well-rehearsed and practiced. So as an acronym, RATE is an acronym, ATS is an acronym. We have an acronym for TOPS, and TOPS is Teacher Outreach Program Support. So that's a program that we use within Assistive Technology Services to promote leadership and implementing assistive technology in classrooms. We're taking more and more steps if you didn't raise your hand, and assistive technology is a passion. We want that to be a passion of yours. We want all teachers to be able to raise their hand and to call themselves assistive technology leaders within their own classrooms. We're exploring methods to open that up to you, and please take advantage of the TOPS program within your school. You can talk to ATS resource teachers about it. We have a monthly newsletter that we're going to be emailing out, that we continue to email out to special education departments. And then also just look for trainings. If you just do that search within our training mechanism for finding online and live trainings, just use that acronym of TOPS, and we can make steps to have you be involved in becoming a leader in implementing assistive technologies. We want all of you to be a part of that. So take a look for that, and that's something that we're continuing to develop, not only this year, but in future years. And then finally, parents. You can raise a hand for the parents that are in the room. And of course, thank you guys for the effort that you made to come out on this, fall Saturday and want to be a part of the dialogue and communication and hopefully see all of the tools that we have, successful technology tools, assistive technology tools that we're implementing, within our classrooms. And so those are the big introductions that I have as of now. Hopefully everybody has an idea of who each other are, to some degree within the room. But you didn't come here to hear me. It's time to get to the real keynote, which is a student of ours, Fadel. And Fadel has a fantastic story. Oh, wait a minute. I just got a point. I have to stop. I don't know. Fadel is on his way out. But as Fadel comes out, I also want to point out two other people in the room because we are very, very privileged to have with us the coordinator of related services, which is Kelly Cochran, and the acting director of special education instruction, Mike Bloom. How did I leave those guys off the roster? But so enough introductions from me. A lot of people have wanted to come up and introduce Fadel. So we actually have a list of video introductions that you're about to see of people that have worked with Fadel over the years. And before he speaks, you'll see a little bit of his story through those that have worked with him.
Great. Good morning. We are in for a treat today. We get to hear from Fadel Roth, one of our very own Fairfax County postgrads. Fadel is inventive, respectful, persistent. You know, he's the kind of guy who just works at something until he figures it out and gets it done. He's worked with many Fairfax County educators over the years, so let's hear what they have to say about Fadel.
I've known Fadel since he was in first grade. One thing that always amazes me with Fadel is his grit, his ability to persevere. You give Fadel something, and he always takes it to the next level.
Hilarious. Persistent.
He had this unique ability to be able to make you smile just when he entered the room, okay? Everybody was happy just being around him. He's phenomenal.
Personable.
Sorry.
Snappy dresser.
Yeah, just like Mr. Biddy.
Technical whiz. Yeah, didn't he get like #1 for eye gaze or something?
He's awesome. He's amazing.
Great communicator.
Yep.
Advocate for himself and others. That's a good one.
But most importantly, Fadel is.
An OG.
Fadel rocks.
And he rolls.
Fadel is a young, energetic, hard-working young man who brings smiles to everyone's face and warms everyone's hearts.
Fadel loves to interact with his peers here at STEP, and they love to interact with him, and he's a great role model for them.
He is doing a marvelous job, and we love working with Fadel.
Fadel is super funny, he's super outgoing, he's a great friend to a lot of different people, and we're able to use that for him at his job site currently, and he's filled with one-liners. I love his jokes.
Well, he's so kind and sweet and passionate.
Fadel is going places.
Fadel, you're an awesome communicator, and you are so resilient. Can't wait to hear what you have to share with us today.
Good morning. I am thrilled to see all of you here on a Saturday morning. Families. I am sure many of you gave up sports practices with your kids and time with your families. I am sure many of you gave up sports practices with your kids and time with your families. If you are like me, my alarm went off way too early for a Saturday morning. As you can see, some of you may be thinking, wow, Some of you may be thinking, wow, that's really cool. Others may be thinking, man, that looks really tough. Well, both of you are right. And I would like to spend the next few minutes telling you a little bit about how I got to the point where I am able to use assistive technology to communicate, to work, and to build relationships with the people in my life. First, allow me to give you a summary of my life from when I was born, how I became with special needs kid and what brought me to this area. Special needs kid and what brought me to this. I believe everything happens for a reason. I was a healthy boy, born in Morocco in December 1999. I became sick when I was 7 months old and lost all my movements. I became sick. The first years, the only people who could understand me were my parents. After trying everything in Morocco and later in France, my family decided to move to the U.S. to help me find the best care and the best quality of life. Arabic is my native language, so moving from Morocco to the U.S. at age 4 was not easy. My start at kindergarten in Cincinnati, Ohio, in 2005 was very hard. I didn't have any idea about what people were talking about. And had no way to communicate in return, and had no. Now, I am able to communicate in English, but also in Arabic, Moroccan dialect. Now, I am able to communicate little bit in Spanish, and even a little bit in French. But back then, when I was little, I didn't have even one established language for communication. I felt lonely while surrounded by a lot of caring people. In 2006, after my dad moved his work from Morocco to Washington, D.C., we moved from Ohio to Virginia. I started first grade at Saratoga Elementary School. I started first grade at this time, I was able to understand English and started to read English. Making new friends was very helpful, but my only way to communicate was yes and. Making new friends was very helpful. Making new friends was very helpful, but my only way to communicate was yes and no. Questions or showing what I need by pointing to it using my eyes. Yes is by opening my mouth. No is blinking my eyes. Teachers and school staff were reading me class material. When I took tests, teachers asked me multiple choice questions, and I chose the answer by looking at it or by answering yes and no questions. I was willing to try everything new. I was referred by my school to Kennedy Krieger Institute for a transition program. This is a picture of a dying Navox 3100 just like I used to have. This was my first contact with a communication device. A dying Navox using a head pointer. It was an amazing new way to communicate with the rest of the world. I was able, for the first time, to tell I need to go to the bathroom without having people guess for 20 minutes. For people with no special needs, I want you to imagine a simple gesture as scratching your nose with your finger. It is indeed very simple and you can do it without thinking about it. It is indeed very. Now, put yourself in a situation where you are not able to use your hands to reach your face. You cannot use your hands to point the itchy area. You cannot use your hand. And add to that, you can't talk and say you have an itchy nose. How will you communicate to others this request? My nose is itchy and it needs to be scratched. I am able to do so with my family. We have our own way to communicate. But with others, the use of an eye gaze device is a lifesaver. It takes a few seconds to express a need that will be impossible to communicate otherwise.
Hello, Fadel.
years old?
Huh? How old am I?
What do you like to do?
Play with my motor scooter bus. Hello, Fadel.
Since 2006, I have used many communication devices. Since 2000, starting with accessing the device with a head pointer, the reflective point was very hard. Almost impossible due to the lack of head control. I had to go back to head pointer to use my communication devices, like my computer, my iPad, and even a piano keyboard. With the eye gaze technology, accessing a device became easier and it keep on improving. In the beginning I wasn't able to reach the corners of the screen. It was hard to calibrate and the device storage was limited. Look at me now talking with the Princess of Morocco. Here is the list of all devices I used and means to access them. Here is the list of Dynavox, EcoPoint 2, iPad, computer, Accent 1200, Accent 1400, laptop, head pointer, reflective point, eye gaze. One of the limitations of eye gaze communication devices is not working outdoors, except the last one I just received this summer. Family is the vital key in the life of a person with special needs. And I am lucky to have such a supportive family. My dad's name is Ali. My mom's name is Najat. My brother's name is Yasir. My sister's name is Sarah. My home caregiver's name is Muhammad. As a family we have a lot of fun. We love being together as you can see. One of the things we like to do as a family is travel, so please let me show you my adventures. We visited many countries: Morocco, France, Spain, China, Canada, Dominican Republic, and of course United States of America. Look at me on a camel, on a donkey, and at the beach in Morocco. In Dominican Republic we spend a lot of time with cute animals. The reason why I went to China is for stem cells treatment. My favorite team is in Spain. It's called Football Club Barcelona. We also visited many states: Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Texas, Illinois. And of course Ohio, where my sister Sarah was born. We did everything from Disney World, aquariums, the beach, and seeing the space shuttle at NASA. We are planning to visit more states and countries. I even met the royal family. I am only joking. It was a wax museum. I am only joking. It was a wax museum. Classmates, peers, buddies, and friends are also vital in the life of a person with special needs. I have no complaints about this. I had and I have many friends who are always providing me with great support. I have some friends since elementary school, and I am making new friends every day. Something that I want you to know is my passion for FC Barcelona and Madrid. Something that I want you to know. I went to a game in DC and then got to meet some of the players of both Team Barcelona and Madrid. Don't worry, I also like American sports. Also love my pets. My dog's name is Ginger. My guinea pig name is Hershey. Now let me talk about my strengths and weaknesses. I always have a positive attitude. I'm always happy. I am always willing to try new things. I always try. I always try to find new solutions. And most important, I never give up. I never give up. On the other hand, I can't use my hands. I can't use my hands. I can't walk. I can't talk. Sometimes it's hard for me to find a solution and I get tired or frustrated. Sometimes people have hard time understanding me, which also frustrating. And, of course I wouldn't be able to use all this technology without the precious help of my ATS friends to whom I will never be thankful enough. My ATS Karen Burke, Chip Clark, Teresa Dubovsky, Colleen Kalamika, Judy Lieberman, Jeff Powers. Also thanks to Kennedy Krieger Institute and Johns Hopkins. Thank you, Dr. Hone. Thank you, Dr. Robinson. Thank you, Colleen Lenz. And big special thank you to Dr. Fadel. The easiest tool I have used was the head pointer. It is not really a device, but it helped me. Because the head pointer can be used for almost for everything. I used it for iPad, Dynavox, laptop, piano, and even painting. The hardest thing that I used was the reflective point. It was hard to use because I had trouble with my head control, and because the lack of precision. When I came to America, people had a hard time understanding me. I had no devices to talk with, and it was hard to communicate. In the meantime, my native language is Arabic. And I had a hard time understanding people. My advice for parents to be patient with your children and only help them when they. My advice for parents to be patient with your children and only help them when they need it. And never give up. Be willing to try new things. It takes time and teamwork. Now as a conclusion. I am from another country. Actually from another continent. I came to America at a very young age. I didn't speak, read or understand any English. It was hard to communicate at first. But because I have such a supportive family and my therapists and team worked together, I was able to use technology to communicate, work and build relationships in my life. So now let me tell you about some of my accomplishments so far. Now, I am able to communicate, do work using Microsoft, Google Classroom and the Internet. I went through middle school, high school and now I am in STEP. I was able to attend a job site as important as National Science Foundation. I am attending another job site right now. I am planning to attend college to have a cybersecurity degree. And more. So, if I can do it, everybody can. So, If I can. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your attention. Any questions? Give me a minute to type. Give me a minute. Be patient and be caring.
Go ahead. You take you up front.
Hi, Fadel. My son's favorite player is Cristiano Ronaldo. Who is your favorite player?
Messi, of course. Messi, of course.
How do you type in Arabic?
I didn't get that. Can you re-say it? I didn't get that.
How do you type in Arabic?
He's asking, how do you type or use the device to communicate in Arabic?
Well, I really can't, but I understand it.
So we have time for just one more question.
Hi, Fadel. How hard was it for you to use a new device when it was introduced to you?
One day.
Thank you so much, Fidel. That was fantastic. Let's hear it for him again.